Today I'm joined by Ashley Arbuckle and Richard Price, two of Australia's most loved and respected classical musicians. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Hi.
Now, we're here today to talk about an alliance that you two have brought together called Arco. But before we get into that one, let's just have a bit of a background about you both. Let's start with you, Ashley. Now, you first started with the West Australian Symphony Orchestra. Tell us about that, when you first started.
I was in a concert at the old Capitol Theatre, which is long since gone, when I was 21, on my 21st birthday. Stayed with the orchestra for about 9 years before going away to London, and repeated the process then some years later. I came back and went to London again. So all told, I was with the Symphony Orchestra here for about 20 years in three separate lots. Yeah.
Tell me about London. What did you do over there?
I went over there. In those days, everyone went over for a year's study or a year's have a look, you know. So I did that, and I also got onto some really fine teachers, violin teachers, while I was there. One of whom invited me to join the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra at that stage, and I went in there and, in fact, ended up as co-leader sitting next to him, which was quite a thrill. And then later I went back to London to a similar position in the London Symphony Orchestra, co-leader of the London Symphony Orchestra for about, wow, that must have been near enough to 10 years I did that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're back in Perth now. What's your role with the WA Philharmonic Orchestra?
That's an interesting orchestra put together by a sound recording guy who works in Los Angeles, and he brings concerts and personalities from Los Angeles out here. So we put the orchestra together from the freelance musicians in Perth and do concerts and recordings, and it's really quite a live wire outfit, yeah.
Now, both of you have both toured with Andrea Bocelli. Tell me about that one, Richard.
Oh, that was really fun, just going from capital city to capital city, arrive in Brisbane about midnight, get up 4 o'clock in the afternoon, first rehearsal, haven't seen the music before, just play the music, play the concert that night, and the same process every day till we got here to Perth. Very exciting, huge crowds in the audience, just lots of fun.
And how did you first get into classical music? Because you weren't always into it.
Well, I started out in the traditional way, learned the normal pieces, did the exams and all that sort of stuff, but in the 60s I found the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and the Who and all that sort of stuff a little more enticing. So I listened to a lot of that, just was itching to play it, but there wasn't really the opportunity for a violinist to get into it until I went to Sydney in about 1970, and I joined a band that was in the top 40 in Sydney called Heart and Soul, and that was incredibly exciting. It was a huge band, 12-piece band, and we toured Melbourne, all the dark, dungeony type nightclubs they had in those days in Melbourne. And then when I went to the Conservatorium, I joined another couple of bands. There was a famous Australian band called Chain that came over, and at one of the gigs I was playing at, I jammed along with them. Really fun stuff.
Yeah, wow, it sounds like you've both had an amazing career. Now, tell me about Arco. What is this all about? Well,
Richard and I appeared with a mutual friend, jazz person, and we just liked each other's playing, and so, cut a long story short, we got together and started assembling music of all different kinds and putting together backing tracks so that we didn't need a whole orchestra to play with. We had just Richard and I playing stuff that we had arranged, and but it sounds like two soloists with an orchestra backing. So yeah, and it's working really, really nicely.
So to test this out, we got out into the streets, we went busking, and we found that from busking, people tell you pretty quickly what they like and don't like. The coins drop in for the pieces they love, and there's absolutely nothing happening for the pieces. Some of the pieces we arranged, we thought, this is great stuff. They didn't. So we've worked out our repertoire, and we had so much feedback from passers-by. And I mean, there was one lady standing in front of us, tears rolling down her cheeks. She said, "Oh, I haven't heard such beautiful music in such a long time." You know, we were playing Pachelbel's Canon, which of course is an incredibly beautiful piece of music. And we've had all sorts of people from little children to people like bikies who you would think probably aren't into classical music, and they come up and say, "That sounds great."
Wow.
It's just incredible the sort of reaction we've got. So I'm so pleased we got out and tried the busking. It was really for fun, and we've had so much fun doing it. And we got a couple of opportunities to play. The one that springs to mind is on a Friday afternoon, this chap came up and said, "Can you play at my wedding?" And I said, "Sure, when is it?" He said, "Tomorrow."
Oh my gosh.
I didn't believe him,
Yes.
but we ended up going and playing for his wedding the next day.
How
And
lovely.
it was just spontaneous and I have to say fun again. We just had so much fun doing it.
And what are your plans for Arco? Are you releasing an album or a CD?
We're on to a CD at the moment.
Yes.
Can't give you an exact date when it will be ready, but it's on the way.
All right, now, guys, if you want more information, you can check out our website, which is thecouch.com.au. Has everything on there, so you can find out more about Richard and Ashley, and you can listen to their beautiful music. And don't worry, because coming up before the break, they're going to be performing for us. All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
No worries. And back to you, Fred.